My name is Sherry, and I understand the cost of a life lived on adrenaline better than most. I've sat across from men they call whales, the high rollers who gamble fortunes away. Men like Terry Watanabe, who lost $500 million. People ask what the payoff is. It's not money. It's the chemical scream in the bloodstream, the dizzying high of the risk itself. It's an addiction, plain and simple, and it devours them from the inside out. Their health crumbles under the weight of that constant, self-inflicted surge. I know that toll intimately. My body is a testament to it. But my adrenaline wasn't from the spin of a roulette wheel. Mine was the cold, sustained terror of a child who could never stand down. I grew up nowhere and everywhere. Between the frozen silence of Alaska and the flat, endless fields of Kansas. My father was an oil driller, so home was a temporary concept. I never put down roots long enough for a teacher to know my name or a neighbor to miss me. I was a ghost in my own life, even before the haunting began. The haunting had a face, and it was my father's. The sexual abuse started when I was 6 or 7 years old. My first memory is one of full, violent penetration. From that moment, my nervous system was forged in a permanent state of emergency. Adrenaline wasn't a rush, it was the sea I drowned in every day. To the outside world, he was a great guy. Charming. The kind of man who'd buy a round of drinks, coach a little league team. That's the disguise. I've spoken to other predators since, and the pattern is chilling. They are the most likable people in the room. My father's charm is the lock on my prison door. Behind it was the physical violence, the verbal lashings, the mental games. Every day was a tightrope walk over a pit of eggshells, and I was carrying a secret so heavy it stunted my growth. I got married my senior year of high school. It wasn't a romance, it was an evacuation plan. Survivors are always engineering exits. My life is a map of could-haves and should-haves, but I navigate it now with the grace for that child. She did the best she could with a brain wired only for survival. Her best was simply to keep breathing. That survival came at a price my body is still paying. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and it is the text of my life. The abuse ended decades ago, but my flesh and bones are a living archive. I have panic attacks that floor me. Nightmares that feel more real than daylight. My thyroid gave up. A kidney quit. I swallow a pharmacy of pills each day just to manage the basics of digestion. Right now, I'm fighting a mysterious case of mycotoxin poisoning at levels 600 times normal. I have a team of doctors, a dietitian, a trainer. I do everything right. But a body steeped in a lifetime of fear-based chemicals eventually rebels. The adrenaline that kept me alive as a girl is killing me as a woman. The abuse was a relentless schedule. Weekly. Sometimes more. My mother, who worked outside the home, didn't know. I carried the secret until I was 35, a wife and mother myself, a master of performing normalcy. I could be the perfect PTA mom, the ideal friend, whatever role was needed. The real Sherry had been buried long ago. It all cracked open over lunch with a friend. Out of nowhere, she said, "Sherry, I know about your dad." I still don't know how she knew. We agreed to never speak of it again, but the genie was out of the bottle. The carefully contained trauma was now scattered, messy, and visible. I had to tell my sister. Together, we told my mother. My mother confronted him. His confession was blunt, "It's true. Everything she's saying is true." For a fleeting, glorious day, I believed in consequences. My mother left. And then, the next day, she called. "He said he's sorry," she told me. "I'm going home." They stayed married until he died. The world protects its great guys. Why didn't I tell sooner? In the 1970s, in the middle of nowhere, you didn't. Silence was the rule. That silence lives in me now as complex PTSD. My memory fragments. My thoughts scatter. But from the fragments, I've built a purpose, education. At 64 years old, I still have dual tracks playing in my head. One is my father's voice detailing the catastrophic fallout of my truth, my mother's tears, a family shattered, foster care, community shame, all of it, he whispered, would be my fault. The other track is the endless loop of who he said I was: stupid, ugly, fat, worthless, destined for nothing. When you know the disaster that will follow your voice, and you believe you are the worthless cause of it, you stay silent. There is no way out for a child. His admission came when I was 35. He was nearly 60. The statute of limitations had run out. There was no legal reckoning. I've since learned the average age for an incest survivor to first speak is 56. We spend a lifetime carrying guilt that was never ours to hold. My healing began then, in my 30s. It has been a long, expensive excavation. Talk therapy helped, but it was EMDR therapy that truly changed my neural pathways. Yet, even in healing, the darkness can pull you under. At 50, living in a beachside condo with a loving husband, a life that looked like a postcard, I broke. The exhaustion of a lifetime of vigilance simply won. I bought a cemetery plot. I planned my death with the same precision I'd used to plan my survival. The attempt failed. In the aftermath, I had to explain to my husband, Gary, a man whose love felt like a language I couldn't speak. I believed, in my broken logic, that my death would free him to find a whole woman, one who deserved him. Learning to accept his steadfast love, and even the gentle, paternal love from his father, has been its own journey. The first time my father-in-law went to hug me, I instinctively thrust out a hand to shake. He patiently taught me that a father's touch could be safe. My voice, once silenced, now has a mission. I began speaking to small groups 8 years ago. A police chief in Georgia heard me and asked me to train his officers. Me. I thought he was crazy. But I did it. I partnered with Kevin, a retired police officer and fellow survivor. Together, we built an 8-hour class on trauma and sexual assault for law enforcement. We travel the country now. We've taught at the New York Attorney General's office. The FBI says the average police officer receives just 2 hours of training on sexual assault in their entire career. 2 hours. Then we hand them our most shattered victims and expect justice. We are trying to change that. Officers tell us, I've worked every case wrong until now. We are hope dealers in a system desperate for it. What I've learned, above all, is that I am not the labels he branded into my soul. When I make a mistake, my brain still screams stupid, but I now know that's the ghost of his voice, not my truth. I had to learn the most basic things as an adult. Once, Gary asked me how I liked my eggs. I froze. I didn't know. No one had ever asked me what I preferred before. I sat on the couch and wept. I'll never know the woman I could have been without the theft of my childhood. Perhaps she would have been brilliant. It's a ghost I've made peace with. The abuse is a thread woven through everything, in my startle at a loud noise, and the way Gary still warns me before he uses a power tool. It never leaves. But it no longer leads. My father died years ago. I felt nothing. It was the closing of a file on a stranger. If there is one thing I want to leave with anyone trapped in their own darkness, it is this: there is always hope. I have been on the kitchen floor. I know the depth of the night. But the sun does rise. If you can do one thing, just don't make a permanent decision today. Wait for the morning. Take off your shoes. Feel the grass under your feet. Ground yourself in the now. The pain is real, but it is not the whole story. I am a survivor. My body bears the scars, but my spirit has reclaimed the pen. I am writing the rest of my story, and it is one of hard-won hope, spoken loudly, for anyone who needs to hear it.